captains, Paul Farman, the goalkeeper and captain of Barrow, and Axel Disasi, who's got the armband tonight at the back for Chelsea, just posing for photographs with Oliver Langford, the referee, and the mascot, and we'll soon get things underway. Barrow in their change strip of kind of a Watford-esque yellow and black affair on the shirts with black shorts and socks. Chelsea in blue shirts and shorts with white socks, and we'll soon be underway. Great atmosphere, Matt Holland.
It is a great atmosphere, and we wondered how long it was between Chelsea and Barrow. 305 miles apparently.
Well done. See, even with this notice we can still work out the mileage.
305 miles.
We weren't expecting to be here. And so the coin toss has been sorted. It looks like Barrow will be defending the shed end away to our left where their fans are. We have this beautiful bird's eye view for you up in the high echelons of the east stand, almost at the television gantry height, looking down on the pitch with the Matthew Harding to our right, the shed end to our left, and it will be Dean Campbell of Barrow to get us underway here on Talksport 2 at Stamford Bridge to see whether the League Two table toppers can topple the might of the multi-winners, 5 times winners of this trophy, Chelsea, and last season's defeated finalists. Ball's rolled back to Paul Farman, who drives it out to the right-hand side, immediately headed in field by Rory Feely, the young Irish fullback, but it's won back by Chelsea, and a chance immediately for Malo Gusto back in the Chelsea ranks after a couple of weeks out with a hamstring strain, and now it's out with Renato Veiga, the Portuguese, at left back. There is an element of this, Matt Holland, as we're now underway on Talksport 2, team of strangers thing.
Yeah.
The idea, you know, there's only one change in that Barrow lineup, for example, 11 for Chelsea. That can cause problems with the lack of chemistry.
Yeah, it can. It can disrupt the fluency. It takes a while to build up those relationships when you play with new players. Slightly different questions being asked of them. Early mistake from Casadei in midfield, giving the ball away.
Aqua won it back off him and then was pushed over by Casadei, so free kick.
Barrow want to press. Stephen Clemens has said he's a team that want to play in the opposition half. They want to try and press high. Going to be difficult against the quality of Chelsea, and they are going to have to be careful that they try and press too high. They get bypassed and they can get hurt. But they are a team that do want to try and do that.
And they'll match Chelsea system for system. 0-0, a minute gone. Free kick just shy of the halfway line to be taken by Ben Jackson, who's already scored in the EFL Cup this season. The left back floats it out to the left-hand corner of the box. Might drop down the left-hand side for Chris Stokes, drifting out towards the corner flag. Almost won a corner off Casadei, but it ends up going out for a throw to Barrow right by the corner flag on the left-hand side. 0-0.
You think they'd scored? The noise they've made to our left-hand side, Barrow.
Yeah. Well, they certainly believe. Rory Feely's gone over to the far side, the right-hand side, left-hand side, should I say, the right-sided fullback. He's the long throw specialist, clearly, and he's going to launch this in to the near post. Headed out by Veiga. João Felix helps it on, but Jackson's there to lob it out to the left-hand side, and loads of space for Feely to charge into the penalty area, but he showed too much of that to Gusto, who put his foot through it and put it out for another throw. 0-0.
Yeah, heavy touch, wasn't it, from Feely? A good ball out to him when he had plenty of space on that left-hand side, but a heavy touch allowed Gusto to get across and make the challenge.
Not particularly good touchy Feely from the fullback.
Very
Sorry.
good.
But another long throw coming in. 5 yards from the corner flag, far side of the field. Feely looking into the near post. It's bounced beyond the keeper, bounces off the post, but the whistle had gone for a shove on Philip Jorgensen. Heart in mouth moment for the young keeper, who's played twice for Chelsea against Servette in the Europa League, but the whistle went to spare his blushes.
Yeah, I'll be honest, it wasn't the most convincing goalkeeping.
He's got the ball at his feet now, Philip Jorgensen. Joined in July from Villarreal, the Danish under-21 keeper. Plays it up to halfway, intercepted by Dean Campbell. And out to Aqua, real box of tricks on the left-hand side for Barrow, but he's been fouled. And then it's one back in central midfield, and a push means it's a free kick. It was Sam Foley who won the ball back tigerishly from Gusto, but Oliver Langford, the referee, said too strong.
Been a sloppy start, actually, from Chelsea. They've given the ball away cheaply a couple of times. Casadei and then Disasi as well, trying to play a ball into midfield. They build up with a back three. Gusto, who's the nominal right back, he steps into midfield. makes the extra man in the middle of the pitch, and they build on up with a back three. Chelsea in possession.
Chelsea 0, Barrow 0. We played 3.5 minutes here on Talksport 2 at Stamford Bridge, and I don't think Chelsea have gotten to the Barrow half yet. Now they do. Over on the far side with Pedro Neto. He's given the ball away on halfway to Jed Garner. Then Garner's pulled back on the halfway line by Cassidy, and Cassidy might find himself in the referee's notebook here if he's not careful. Certainly a free kick, 0-0.
Yeah, really sloppy start. Another giveaway from Chelsea. Pedro Neto coming inside, a square pass, misses his man by 2 or 3 yards, and Barrow turn it over. That's been the case in this opening 5 minutes.
They do not look like a Premier League side, certainly these opening exchanges, Chelsea. Far from it. Barrow have this free kick. Ben Jackson, again, the left-back, is standing over it. It's just to the left of the centre circle, inside the Chelsea half of the field. They're attacking the Matthew Harding Barrow in this first half. Jackson, left-footed, drives it to the right-hand corner of the box. Feely helps it back across to the edge of the area, and it's volleyed out of play by Nkunku, coming across to put it out, no nonsense, into the stand that we're sat in, but the lower tier of it. Chelsea's under-21s have got it right. They're already a goal up at Bromley in the Football League Trophy tonight. And we played 5 minutes here, and another long throw coming in from Barrow. I think this is their third or fourth, but this time from the right-hand side. Rory Feely, again, the man with the ball in his hand to launch it from the midway point of the half. Good distance and trajectory on the throw. It is flicked on, headed up in the air by Badia Shiel. Where's that going to drop? On the 6-yard line, but it squirms away from Aqua and allows Jorgensen to claim 0-0.
Yeah, and it's a really confident start from Barrow. Stephen Clements will be delighted. Quite easy to come here, be intimidated, looking at the team sheet, see the names on there and take a step back. That's not been the case. They've been the team that have been looking to get on the front foot.
Well, Barrow, as Stephen Clements mentioned in that piece of audio, haven't slackened off since they knew that a trip to Stamford Bridge was in the offing after the penalty success over Derby County. Their only league loss came at Brunton Park against Carlisle United.
I should say they're playing a back five though, Barrow.
Yeah,
3 centre-backs, 2 wing-backs, 3 in midfield and 2 up top.
Yeah, Jackson's playing more as a centre-half than a left-back.
And Newby at left wing-back.
Yeah, it is a change of system from the 4-2-3-1. Guess out a bit of respect for their illustrious opponents. Neto heads the ball in field. Gusto darting down the right-hand side of the Barrow box. Can't wrap his foot round the ball for a cross, so Neto has it again, tracking back towards the halfway line, being pressurised by Aqua, and then plays it along the halfway line right to left to pick out the left-back, Renato Vega. Back to Badia Shiel on halfway. Disasi to his immediate right. Now it's picked up in field by Gusto. Across to the left-hand side. Manchester City already have the lead against Watford through Jeremy Doku. That's Premier League against Championship in the EFL Cup. João Felix and Cassidy now combining. It's back to halfway and Badia Shiel. You're listening to Talksport 2, 7 minutes gone at the Bridge. Barrow have made a decent start. Stephen Clements, who's not at the edge of, well, he is at the edge of his technical area now. He wasn't for a moment, but he's got a cap on this evening. Enzo Maresca standing just outside of his technical area, which could be a cause for a booking if there was a particularly Jobsworth fourth official down there. But there's not a lot of room in front of those benches. And this touchline down beneath us at Stamford Bridge. And Nkunku dropping quite deep for Chelsea, just picking it up over the halfway line. Badia Shiel across to Disasi.
This is more of what we expected, isn't it, Dance?
Holding the ball in possession.
Chelsea dominating the ball. Barrow sitting off, getting men behind it, being compact, hard to break through.
Here's João Felix, centre of the Barrow half. Options ahead of him, lofts it into Nkunku, inside the area, and Nkunku knocks it into the back of the net. Soon as Chelsea get half a sniff of goal, João Felix masterminded it with a lofted pass into the area. Nkunku beat the offside trap, slipped it underneath Farman, and Chelsea, after a slightly shaky start, hit the front through Christopher Nkunku. Chelsea 1, Barrow 0.
Well, that's the difference between the two sides, between the two setups. 64 places separate them in the pyramid, and moments like that are exactly why. Absolutely terrific from João Felix. He was 25, 30 yards out from goal when he picked up possession, got himself on the half turn, looked forward, and the back five was quite compact for Barrow. Everyone in shape, but he still had the ability and the quality just to lift it over the top of all five of them towards the penalty spot, and Nkunku runs onto it, guides it past the goalkeeper. A moment of real quality from Chelsea.
I think it was Rory Feely, the right wing back, who was actually playing Nkunku onside as he ran through. No VAR here at Stamford Bridge tonight, but it's 1-0. Aqua at the other end tries a volley from a tight angle, couldn't get hold of it and sliced it over the bar. 9 minutes gone. Christopher Nkunku, his 4th goal of the season in all competitions. Decent start for the man who, well, let's not forget, cost 52 million quid from Leipzig.
Yeah, he's not a bad player, is he? He's not a bad player. Now, that front four, when you look at it on paper, Neto, Felix, Mudryk and Nkunku, I mean, it should be doing some damage, shouldn't it?
And it already has. 9.5 minutes gone on Talksport 2. Chelsea's under-21s have been pegged back, though, by Bromley. Levi Amanchi makes it 1-1 in that Football League trophy encounter. On halfway, Nkunku, the goal scorer, drops deep once more. Finds Malo Gusto. Should Chelsea fans to be happy to see him back in the right-back berth. And Nkunku again on the halfway line. Gusto is actually a good 20 yards ahead of him. Now it's played through the middle for João Felix, who's again beaten the offside trap. No, he hasn't. The flag's gone up. But this time it was Nkunku trying to return the compliment to the man that set him up for the goal. But Felix was just offside. Free kick, 1-0.
Went too early. It was a great pick out by Nkunku. We saw the previous goal. Felix dropping off and Nkunku running in behind. This time it's the other way around. Nkunku dropping off, getting himself on the ball into that number 10 position. He was slightly deeper than that actually when he picked it up. Had space to pick out Felix, but his run was a fraction too soon. He was maybe a couple of yards offside in the end. But great movement between and interchanging between those front two.
That's the voice of Matt Holland, former Ipswich, Charlton and Republic of Ireland midfielder. 1-0 to Chelsea here on Talksport 2. We played 10 minutes. Paul Farman, the Barrow keeper, just took his time getting back to his feet after that offside flag went up against Felix. Not managed to keep a clean sheet tonight, but he's kept 4 already in League 2 this season, the former Carlisle man. Can't be many that have made the trip across Cumbria to play for both. And he takes a free kick for the offside call downfield. Feely tries to head it infield. It's lobbed further downfield by Campbell. Chelsea win it back, and it's tucked down the inside left channel by Felix. And Mudryk is taken out, and a quick free kick just casually floated across midfield by João Felix for Disasi, the captain for Chelsea tonight. He is again wearing the armband. Badia Shield being faced up by Aqua, knocks it to his left for Renato Vega into the feet of Dewsbury Hall. Lovely ball round the corner for Mudryk down the left wing. Plenty of time to measure the cross into the box, and it's turned behind by Jackson for Chelsea's first corner of the game. They lead 1-0.
It's probably the first we've seen of Dewsbury Hall. He hasn't been able to get on the ball too much. In fairness, they are quite compact, Barrow, out of possession, and Chelsea being happy to play it around the back. That's the first time we've seen Dewsbury Hall in an advanced position, but great play. Gets himself on the half turn, sees the run of Mudryk, plays him in early, and the weight of pass was perfect for him as well.
2 players at the short corner where the shed end meets the east stand where we are sat, and it's Felix and Neto who are stood next to each other. It's flicked to Felix, who then knocks it back 10 yards or so to Gusto on this left-hand side. Now Neto gives it back to Gusto. Diagonal ball into the box. Lovely flight on that delivery. It's cleared out to the edge of the area, driven back goalwards by Kieran Dewsbury Hall, and that wasn't the best quality. That landed in Rose Ed. Goal kick to Barrow, 1-0 Chelsea.
Well, his first touch was a good one, playing it out wide to Mudryk. His second one, not the best. I was going to tell you a story about Barrow, actually.
Oh, yeah, you kept your powder dry before. You refused to tell me.
I refused to tell you. Do you know, they were voted out of the Football League, weren't they, in early 70s, 1972?
The re-election process, yes, that's right.
OK, well, before that, whilst they were in the Football League, my dad was offered terms at Barrow. Wow, would you believe?
What, a tea maker or
yeah.
bottle washer?
No, to play.
Okay.
To play. But he had a job in the bank, and he'd been there since he was 16. And I'm talking, well, he must have been about 2021 when he got offered terms at Barrow. Yeah,
he turned them down.
He turned them down to stay in the bank.
Lovely. Well, you know, so you could be a Barrow native then, or you weren't born in Barrow, though, were you? You were
no, Bury.
Manchester. Yeah, Manchester. It is 1-0 to Chelsea. Barrow probably do with a member of the Holland family out there just to help steady the midfield.
Not at 50. Not at 50, Dance.
Looking at you. You're still at your fighting weight, let's face it. Throw into Chelsea. Vega will lob it back in for Disasi, just ahead of his own 18-yard line. Plays it forward to Gusto, who brings the ball up to the halfway line, teases it out to Pedro Neto, who's got pace to burn. We've not seen an example of that just yet from the former Wolves man, but my word, he's quick. Oldham 1, Forest Green 0 in the Football League Trophy. A lot of games in the northern and southern section tonight. Manchester City 1-up on Watford, as well as the 1-0 here at Stamford Bridge. Jeremy Doku putting Pep Guardiola's men in front. Here's Badiashile in the centre circle. Gusto fires it back to Disasi, and Barrow got everybody behind the ball as Chelsea move the ball into their half. Diagonal ball from Vega, goes beyond everyone to the far post, picked up by Neto down the right hand side of the box, shifts it onto his left foot to the corner of the penalty area, then a little back heel to get Gusto charging down the right hand side of the box, and a clip into the net for Nkunku for 2-0 that is quite superb. Fantastic move from Chelsea. The cross came in from Gusto after a little reverse ball sent him clear, and the pullback saw Nkunku do a Zola-esque flick at the near post to take it beyond Farman. You just have to applaud that. Sheer brilliance from Christopher Nkunku. It's 2-0 to Chelsea.
Well, I've just clapped the move. It was that good. Just fantastic. When you're up against a deep defensive block like Barrow, you need a little bit of quality to open it up. Neto's the back heel, Gusto's first tuck to take it into space, then the delivery into the box, and Nkunku's flick is out of the top drawer. Enzo Maresca will be hoping that he can keep him fit for the entirety of the season. Only played 13 times last year in all competitions. He's only started one Premier League game so far this season. But if they can keep him fit, he is a player of immense quality. It's a fizzed-in ball by Gusto to the near post, and Nkunku's deft little back flick into the corner is magic.
That would grace a Champions League final, a goal like that. Never mind a Carabao Cup tie between a Premier League side and a League Two side. 16 minutes gone on Talksport 2. Chelsea already in cruise control, courtesy of a man who's now on a hat-trick in Christopher Nkunku. But Barrow do have a long throw again, almost level with the Chelsea penalty area down this near right-hand side, and it will be Rory Feely to hurl it in once again. Up go the heads, and it's Badiashile who got his head to it. Mudryk, intelligent ball in field, and now it's 3-on-2 on a counter-attack. If Chelsea play the right ball, being carried forward by Nkunku, sets Felix away, but he just can't take the ball with him. Still has it, checks inside the area, and that allows the defender to get back and whack it out of play for a Chelsea throw. But that was a dangerous-looking counter-attack, at least at first, for Chelsea. 2-0.
Incredibly dangerous, and actually I don't think Nkunku played a bad ball to João Felix. He didn't particularly have the pace to get away. There was a real frustration from Pedro Neto because he thought the ball should have come to him on the right-hand side, and he probably did have the pace to get away.
No doubt. Wycombe Villa is underway. Don't forget, over on Talksport right now, you can use the app to swipe between our two commentaries from the Carabao Cup this evening. Jim Proudfoot and Troy Deeney are your commentary team at Adams Park. Meantime, 2-0 to Chelsea. And Christopher Nkunku is in terrific form at the start of this season. That's 5 goals for the campaign in all competitions for Nkunku, as Jackson for Barrow gets up to the halfway line, just tries to run inside Neto, drives it across to this near side, the inside right channel for Feely, and then Spence is pushed over, and it'll be a free kick to Barrow, almost at the midway point of the Chelsea half and just a couple of yards in from this near touchline. 2-0 on Talksport 2. Here's Matt Holland.
Well, they've had a few of these situations, haven't they, Barrow, where they've got the ability to put the ball into the box. What you would say is that Chelsea are quite a big team themselves, aren't they? Disasi and Badiashile at the back should be able to deal with this.
Yeah, and even Vega and Mudryk aren't exactly tiny. They should be able to deal with this, but Jackson, once again, one of the three centre-halves tonight, usually a left-back for Barrow. He's going to take it, so he's going to swing it in left-footed, sort of swirling it in towards the penalty area rather than away from it. And Chelsea are holding their line a good 25 yards from goal, as they all bounce up and down on the spot, waiting for Jackson to drive it in. In it comes from Jackson, headed out strongly by Disasi. Comes out to the left-hand side, and Elliot Newby for Barrow. Have to go back to the halfway line, where Sam Foley collects. Ball evades Mudryk, and it's sent out to the right-hand side, but the flag's gone up against Chris Stokes when he collected that ball, trying to set Jed Garner away down the right wing, but Stokes was offside. Free kick Chelsea, 2-0.
Yeah, centre-half, unsure of his position on the pitch there, wasn't he, up front, and was a little slow to get himself back on side.
Well, certainly, after what was a sloppy start from Chelsea, they're now 2 goals to the good.
You wouldn't say they played brilliantly.
No, but
two moments yeah, of real quality.
Yeah.
And within 20 minutes, they're 2 goals to the good, and it's cruise control.
Yeah, Barrow don't see bits of skill like that every week in the 4th tier of English football, do they? And what a journey Barrow have been on. Past couple of seasons under Pete Wild, they've done really well. Improvement season on season, but Pete Wild left at the end of last season. Stephen Clements brought in after his decent start at Gillingham, but 2 wins in the last 11 cost them what could have been a playoff spot. Now Barrow trying to win the ball on halfway, and it was good sliding challenge from Sam Foley, but Garner couldn't run through the centre of the pitch. Chelsea managed to get the ball back under control, and it's back with Benoit Badiashile, joined from Monaco about a year and a half ago. Scored against Blackburn in the Cup last season for Chelsea on their way to the final when they lost to Liverpool after extra time, Virgil van Dijk and all that. Desperate to get a 6th League Cup success, and I'm sure that would do Enzo Maresca very nicely in his first season at this elite level of English football. Ball's back with Disasi, just inside his own half. Square ball to Badiashile, quickly releases it down the inside left channel for Vega. Vega with a diagonal ball in the box, looking for the run of João Felix, but that's meat and drink for Paul Farman, the Barrow captain, to catch.
Keenan Dewsbury Hall's playing in that number 10 position, wanted the ball, looking for the ball, shouting for the ball. He's probably the one player that hasn't really got on it yet for Chelsea. You mentioned him a couple of times inside 20 minutes. We talked pre-match about how he needs to dominate, get on the ball, make his presence felt, really grasp the opportunity. He hasn't really been able to get into the action as yet.
Mudryk, who's had a checkered start, I think it's fair to say, to his Chelsea career. Another one of those that's got a point to prove to not just his manager, but lots of Chelsea fans who bought their tickets to come along tonight. He's waiting for the ball on this left-hand side, and it's just behind him with Renato Vega in possession up to the halfway line. 21 minutes gone on Talksport 2. We're just tuning into Carabao Cup Live. Chelsea 2, Barrow 0. More games for you tomorrow night from both the Carabao Cup and the Europa League. Manchester United against Twente on Talksport at 8 p.m. And I'll be up at Anfield with Stuart Pearce for Liverpool against West Ham United. That's an 8 o'clock kickoff in that round 3 time. Then we've got a double bill of Europa League for you on Thursday. Malmo Rangers at 5:45, and then Spurs against Qarabağ of Kazakhstan again at 8 p.m. Here's Vega for Chelsea, moving over the halfway line into the Barrow half of the field. Out to Mudryk on this near side. Not a lot of room to operate for the Ukrainian because of this 5-man back line for Barrow.
I wonder if they call Renato Suzanne in the dressing room.
There's one for the teenagers, from those who like their singer-songwriters. Good work, Matt Holland. Now, right-hand side, Neto, using his pace to try and move in field rather than move down the flank. Skips away from Jackson for a moment. Got support out there from Gusto. He just toe-ends it back to the halfway line. And Disasi. Leyton Orient 1, Peterborough 0. In the League One game, there's 3 League One games tonight. And Tom James has put Leyton Orient ahead. I'll bet you any money that's a 25-yard screamer. Tends to specialise in those. And Leyton Orient, back-to-back wins in the league. They've suddenly picked up under Richie Wellens after a disappointing start to the campaign. So that's the first goal in the League One games tonight. Doncaster are now 2-1 up at Manchester United's youth in the EFL Trophy. Ephraim Yeboah Any relation? He's got the second for Doncaster. Actually, that goal popped up on my timeline today. That Tony, not the one against Leeds rather. Against Liverpool rather. The one against Wimbledon at Selhurst Park.
Oh yeah,
the one that won goal of the season.
Yeah.
It's a good job there was a net in the goal that day.
Wow,
it'd still be rising now. Tony Yeboah, what a player!
Rocket foot,
a right foot. He wasn't bad, was he?
No, played with another one who had a rocket foot, Jimmy Floyd Hasselbank. He could strike a ball as well.
And he did that many times here for Chelsea. Now there's a free kick for a slightly rash challenge by Kean Spence on João Felix, pretty much right in the centre of the Barrow half of the field. So Chelsea have a free kick they can mastermind here. Can go either side, to go left or right with this delivery. And they lead 2-0, and we played 24 minutes here on Talksport 2. And already there might be some Barrow fans who, enjoyed the experience. I'm sure they've enjoyed coming to a new ground, but they might be thinking of damage limitation here already.
They haven't done badly at all.
No.
Chelsea have had 2 shots on goal and scored 2 goals.
So the free kick is either going to be Neto or Felix. In fact, it's flicked by Felix to Neto, then sends it out to Gusto on the far right-hand side of the field. Felix gives it back to Gusto. Run's been made down the right wing by 2 players ahead of Gusto, but he doesn't use them and passes back into the centre circle for Badiashile. Dewsbury Hall, quick passing, gets away from his man and slides it down the left wing to Mykhailo Mudryk. Mudryk now jinking past Feely, clips the ball to the edge of the area, just headed away from Gusto. Badiashile picks it up 30 yards out, trying to play it into the area like 2 touches, but it didn't come off. Barrow can only clear up to halfway where Chelsea win it back. Here is Cassidy now, flicking the ball backwards to square, looking for Dewsbury Hall, but it hit it behind his former Leicester teammate, but Dewsbury Hall retrieves. Gillingham 0, Crystal Palace under-21s 3 now in the Football League Trophy. 2-0 here to Chelsea if you're just tuning in to Talksport 2 in the Carabao Cup round 3. And Nkunku on a hat-trick for the home side, picks it up at the edge of the centre circle, feeds it into Gusto, and Chelsea, Matt Holland, are just popping it about, 1 and 2 touch passing, looking to bend Barrow out of shape and then get in behind them.
Far easier when you're 2-0 up than at 0-0. Confidence flowing now. 1 and 2 touch passing.
Nkunku with a flick for Gusto, running through the centre of the field, up to the edge of the D, dragged back. There's a foul. I think that's a yellow card. Indeed it is, for Sam Foley, for pulling back at Gusto's shirt, round about 25 yards out. Now there's probably about 10 free kick specialists out there for Chelsea. They probably all fancy themselves from this distance.
Well, there's 3 of them on the ball.
You're right, old
4
meeting that will. João Felix has got the ball in his hand.
Dewsbury Hall just walked away, so I don't think he's having it.
Felix or Neto? Well, João Felix is very carefully placing the ball down on the turf. It's a good 25 yards from goal, but pretty much dead centre for Chelsea, attacking the shed end. Notts County 2-0 up on Burton in the second half of their Football League Trophy tie. And Chelsea's under-21s are 2-1 ahead at Bromley. Harvey Vale has scored Chelsea's second in that Football League Trophy match. So, it does look like it's going to be João Felix with a free kick. Stands 2 or 3 paces back from the ball. There's a 5-man Barrow wall and 3 Chelsea players stood next to it, just trying to make Paul Farman's view as difficult as possible of where the ball is and where it's going. Referee Oliver Langford just checking the legality of that wall and whether there's a bit too much bumping and barging going on in there from those Chelsea players, mixing it with the Barrow players next to them. Puts another bit of shaving foam down on the pitch. Now there's a push on Pedro Neto by a Barrow player, and Oliver Langford again just walks towards the players who are bumping and boring and saying, knock it off. Here comes the free kick, eventually from João Felix. Barrow players waiting to try and charge it down. Felix goes for goal, and it's in! I think it went in off the goalkeeper via the post. João Felix will claim it. He bent it over the wall. Paul Farman was diving to his left. I get a horrible feeling it struck the post, hit the back of Farman's hand and trickled over the line for Chelsea 3, Barrow 0.
Well, João Felix was right to pull rank at that free kick. There's plenty going in the wall, but he ignored all that, went around it and found the corner. It does kiss the post. We'll get another look at it. Kisses the post, bounces back, hits the back of the goalkeeper's, I think, legs, possibly, and find its way over the line. 3 shots he's had to face, Paul Farman. 3 times he's picked the ball out the back of the net.
And João Felix, who scored on his second debut when he came back for this season against Wolves, now has a goal in the EFL Cup, although I think the dubious goals panel might well decide that's a Paul Farman OG. Saw some antics. It's 3-0 Matt Holland to Chelsea, and we're coming up to the half-hour mark now.
Yeah, it's tough, isn't it, for Barrow, because they haven't done a lot wrong. They press when they can. Certainly early on in the game they had some good moments, but Chelsea have had 3 shots on goal and scored 3 goals. It's just that moments of quality is the difference between the 2 levels. And Kunku's finishing has been high class. The movement, the sharpness, the 1 and 2 touch football.
Yeah.
Early on, Chelsea didn't quite get it right. I said sometimes when you make that many changes, the fluency, the chemistry might not be there, but they found their groove. They're moving it sharply, and Barrow are struggling to live with them now, struggling to get close to them.
And Chelsea win it back, although in the end Neto was penalised for a push on Ben Jackson, and Barrow have taken the free kick quickly. It's played into Gerard Garner, just ahead of the centre circle, knocks it back to the halfway line, and it's knocked across by Stokes to Vassell, picked up now by Dean Campbell, out to the left hand side for Elliot Newby. Just trying to get some passing together, Barrow, but Chelsea win it back. Neto just toe ends it away from Dean Campbell and charges down the right hand side, stops for a moment, then goes back through the gears, checks back from the dead ball line, rolls it back down the touchline to Gusto, just jinks his way past the challenge, and then he goes to ground, and in fact he's been penalised for handling the ball, even though he thought, Gusto, that he was fouled. 3-0 Chelsea, half an hour gone on Talksport 2.
Yeah, he probably was fouled. The referee didn't give it. It's just a difference in tempo and speed, isn't there, between the 2 levels as well. You saw Pedro Neto there. He was able to stand still, and then the injection of pace that he's got to get away from his man.
I remember seeing Neto last year at Luton for Wolves, who put them ahead with the most extraordinary run.
Yeah, remember it as well. He's just got to stay fit, hasn't he? Yeah. Pedro Neto is another one that suffered injuries throughout his career.
Yep.
Needs a run of games.
Hasn't scored here yet, Pedro Neto.
You think he'll get a chance? You think he'd get a chance today, wouldn't you?
Yeah. Of course, scored 14 for Wolves in his time at Molineux. Barrow won a free kick, 31.5 minutes gone. It's just over the halfway line to this near touch line, just next to Ento Moresu's dugout. Ben Jackson's going to take it once again, the left-footed defender. Deep to the far post, headed across the face of goal. Good, strong, brave-headed clearance from Disasi, with 2 Barrow players trying to make him the meat in the sandwich, and it's a free kick to Chelsea inside their own box. 3-0.
Yeah, good defending from Disasi. Got a little nudge in the back, but still strong enough to deal with the ball into the area. Good defending.
Not just the European and Cup action in midweek, but come Friday we'll have our EFL preview show here on Talksport 2 from 6 o'clock. And then Plymouth versus Luton is our live game. I just mentioned Luton, the Hatters down at Home Park. 8 o'clock kick-off, live commentary from John Roeder and Chris Iwelumo down in Devon. And then game day, Newcastle, who would have been playing tonight against Manchester City, is our lunchtime game on Talksport. Coverage starting at 11. At the same time here on Talksport 2 from the Championship, a 12:30 kick-off. Sheffield Wednesday against the Championship leaders West Bromwich Albion, and then it'll be Chelsea Brighton on Talksport 2 here at the Bridge, 3 o'clock, with me and Alvin Martin for our Premier League exclusive 3 o'clock game. So plenty of live football to come across the network. Over 450 live games across the competitions. Ian Danter and Matt Holland with you at the bridge. 3-0 Chelsea. Driven purposefully from right to left by Gusto, looking for Mudryk, but it's picked off by Rory Feely, and the fullback can try and slide it down the right hand side for Emil Aqua, but Vega's there, got dispossessed by Feely there, and it's back with Emil Aqua on this right hand side. How Barrow fans would love a goal, if nothing else, from the rest of this evening.
They wouldn't mind a shot.
A shot would be nice too. Out to the left hand side, and Elliot Newby. And now drifted down the left hand side, Sam Foley gives it back to Newby. He puts the ball into the box. There's 2 in there for Barrow, but that's a good claim by Jorgensen. Aqua was the closest to him, but the young Danish keeper did well. Holds onto it, and it's 3-0 Chelsea.
He did, but I don't think he's looked the most convincing from crosses into the box. Decision making, when to come, is he going to be strong enough? He did hold on to that one, but it wasn't the most convincing goalkeeping.
In League One, Huddersfield 0, Blackpool 1. Start to managerial life for Steve Bruce once again, as they hit the front through Kyle Joseph at the John Smith. Huddersfield have lost 4 out of their last 5 in a pretty poor trot of form after what looked an encouraging start to the season for the Terriers. They're a goal down. Chelsea are 3 up here. Ball from halfway intended for Dewsbury Hall is way over hit. It skips through to the Barrow keeper Paul Farman.
Yeah, there's a big gap there as well. To talk about Barrow being a pressing team, that's what Stephen Clements wants them to be. Well, the front players in the midfield pressed, the back line probably scared of what they've come up against so far in this opening half an hour or so, dropped deep, and there was a massive gap between the back line and the midfield, which Dewsbury Hall had got himself into. The ball into him wasn't a good one.
You do wonder whether a game like this for somebody like Stephen Clements is one that he would want to show his players again in a DVD in a conference room the next day, or whether you said no, you don't want to put them through it again, as it were, because of what they're up against compared to what they're usually up against. Cassidy knocks it back to Tisasi, and the Chelsea captain just runs away from the penalty area. Is he clipped there by Garner? He was, says Oliver Langford, to a free kick to Chelsea, who beat AFC Wimbledon, Blackburn and Middlesbrough last season in reaching the final. 2 Chelsea subs going to warm up.
Ben Chilwell.
Yeah, who was in the bomb squad until about 10 days ago. Seemingly a reprieve for the England left back.
You say reprieve. They've made 11 changes, you still can't make the team.
Do you think he might get on though?
Well, he said he'd get him some minutes, didn't he? Didn't he say that yesterday in his press conference?
I'm sure he did. Barrow win the ball back on halfway. Emil Aqua just hits the ball against Felix and wins a throw for the Bluebirds.
But it just goes to show you're not in the top 22 players anyway.
No. Well, heads the bomb squad.
Had a couple of injuries in that as well. Reece James still injured.
It does seem
Lavia.
Very strange that Ben Chilwell is suddenly this far down the ladder. Although I think myself and Scott Minto were here when he did his ACL injury in the Champions League, and you knew it was a long way back, of course, just from a single player perspective, but I didn't realise it'd be such a long way back in terms of the squad he had to reintegrate himself into.
I think it's strange that he's probably still at the club as well. He would have recognised and known that he was surplus to requirements. I guess wages may have been an issue going to somewhere else, but from a personal point of view, if you're not going to play, you'd rather be somewhere where you're wanted and you've got an opportunity to get on the pitch.
Chelsea 3, Barrow 0 on Talksport 2. Barrow in possession inside the Chelsea half. Little nibble at the ankles of Sam Foley gives Barrow a free kick. It was Vega with the little challenge. It's right on this near touchline. And again, Ben Jackson's come across to swing this free kick into the box. He's got 4 assists this season in League 2, Ben Jackson, former Huddersfield youth. So he knows where to put the ball in terms of where his teammates are. And the deliveries we've seen so far from him have been pretty good, Matt Holland.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, his delivery has been good.
Standing over this set piece again for Barrow. Chelsea holding their line bang on the 18-yard line. And it'll be a left-footed in-swinging delivery once again from Jackson. And it comes, misses the first defender, but Badiashile got a good strong header down, cushioned it down the left side for João Felix, looks to send it up to halfway, looking for Mudryk, but that was well dealt with by Kian Spence, who lobs it down the right hand side, and Feely that tried to fire it across the penalty area, out for a throw. That roar you can hear is the Barrow fans really encouraged that. Well, let's face it, Barrow have kept the ball inside Chelsea's half for over a minute.
They haven't stopped. Chelsea are 3-0 up. You can't really hear their crowd. The singing is all from the left-hand side. It's the Barrow fans that are in good voice.
You're listening to Talksport 2. Tuesday night in the Carabao Cup. Manchester City have doubled their lead against Watford through Mateus Nunes, former Wolves man. 2-0 at the Etihad. 3-0 at the Bridge. Doncaster Rovers go 3-1 up on Manchester United's under-21s in the Football League Trophy. George Broadbent for Donny. Enzo Maresca just coming out of his technical area once again. Just to have a, I think he's chatting with Kiernan Dewsbury Hall, who we've already spoken about, Matt Holland, this half, in terms of what he might need to show.
He's on the periphery, isn't he? One or two touches, some glimpses, but certainly not a dominant performance from him.
Plenty of time though. 5 minutes just over to the break on Talksport 2, and the ball is with Renato Vega, left back, midway point of his own half for Chelsea. Plays a 1-2 with the aforementioned Dewsbury Hall. Knocked back to Badiashile, who is not being pressed as he comes into the middle of his own half. Plays a 1-2 with Tisassi, and then strikes a very firm pass up to Gusto. Early ball out to Neto on the right flank. He comes infield, scurrying infield, fires the ball into the feet of Nkunku, who tried to protect the ball under pressure from Vassell. No foul, says the referee, and it's back with Farman, the Barrow goalkeeper, and Nkunku picks himself up off the deck. Jackson for Barrow, given away inside his own half to Gusto, who tries to drive forward, rides the challenge, and then gets it back after a very good foot in from Cassidy. Ball was rolled through from Dewsbury Hall, trying to get Nkunku in behind the Barrow backline, but they shut the door at the edge of the D in the nick of time, did the Barrow defence, and they end up getting a free kick. 3-0 Chelsea.
Just that little step quicker, Chelsea. When the ball's loose, Gusto's quick to react. Wasn't on for Dewsbury Hall to play that ball to Nkunku. There was no space actually to try and play that pass, but his eagerness to try and do something special. He tried to play a ball that wasn't really on.
Still Wycombe 0, Aston Villa 0. That's live over on Talksport tonight, don't forget, in the Carabao Cup, but they're only 25 minutes or so into that tie. That game kicked off at 8 p.m. Still 4 minutes of normal time remaining here in the first half at Stamford Bridge. 1 or 2 Chelsea fans heading for a pint at half time. And it's a goal kick to Chelsea away to our right hand side of the Matthew Harding end with Jorgensen, who'll leave it for Badiashile. Barrow actually do have a high press on this occasion. Can Chelsea play around it? It's back with the goalkeeper Jorgensen. Just tries a little mini Cruyff turn, and they do play it out of the defensive third. And now Dewsbury Hall darting over the halfway line, slides it down the left flank for Mudryk. Oh, he rides the challenge of Feely superbly, gets to the dead ball line, chips it into the near post, and it's headed behind by Vassell for a Chelsea corner. 3-0.
Well, those moments have been fleeting from Mudryk as well, but when he gets it and attacks his defender and is positive, he's such an exciting player to watch.
Short corner, work to the edge of the area. Vega knocks it across. Badiashile goes for goal first time, left-footed. Nice effort, actually. It was straight at Paul Farman, but it was firmly struck by the centre-half. 3-0 it stays.
He'd be pleased to have made a save, Paul Farman. That's only the fourth shot, isn't it?
Yeah.
And they're 3-0 up, Chelsea.
Yeah, suddenly the shot conversion percentage goes down a tad. Farman still has the ball in his hands. He will clear from hands from the edge of his own penalty area. Out to this right-hand side for Barrow. Feely goes up for a header, but Vega gets there first. Can't cushion the header down for Mudryk to run onto before it skips out a play for a throw right down beneath us here at Stamford Bridge. And Feely is being told by the referee, you've got a bit too far forward there, fella, with that throw. You need to go back closer to the halfway line before you bring it back into play. Solihull Moors near York City 1 in the National League tonight. Neto, great shoulder charge just to ease Gerard Garner out the way, and now he's going through the gears. He's got the afterburners on, trying to get past Jackson, but credit to Jackson, who slid in, hit the ball against Neto, and it goes out of play for a throw. He had to time that challenge just right, Ben Jackson. He did perfectly.
Great work from Neto. Great work defensively initially to win the ball back, track back 15, 20 yards inside his own half, and then set off.
Well, we saw the speed there, didn't we, Matt, you and I, from Pedro Neto there, that we know he has in abundance. And when he gets the chance to show it, it's terrifying for defenders. Here's João Felix now, chesting the ball down and running to the edge of the area. Shot is blocked, but there was a handball by Felix. He's going to get a yellow card. Whether that's for taking the shot after the whistle had gone or for the handball, I don't know, but it's all semantics. João Felix in the book. Remember, he was sent off on his first debut here at the Bridge against Fulham. He's in the book tonight.
I think it was for handball. I think the decision has gone against him because of that moment. I think he's a little unlucky. I think he sort of tried to lean into it. I don't think he's meant to handle it. I think it's probably hit his arm on his way through. I think he's probably a bit unfortunate.
Anytime there's any challenge involving Felix from now on, you can just bet the Barrow fans are going to be going off. Give them any chance of getting something out of this game. So a free kick to Barrow, just ahead of their own penalty area. Peterborough have equalised to Leyton Orient late on in the first half in League One. Kwame Poku, another for him. He's been really amongst the goals for Posh so far this season. Leyton Orient 1, Peterborough 1. And we're about to find out whether there's going to be any minimum stoppage time at the end of this first half here at Stamford Bridge. And the referee asked the fourth official to hold up 1 minute of minimum stoppage time, during which we will have a long throw coming in for Barrow, once again from Rory Feely down this near side. See if you can find a player in a yellow and black shirt. It's actually headed again away by Benoit Badiashile. Lob back into the area. Jorgensen comes out bravely and beats Aqua to it and bowls it over on right downfield, Peter Schmeichel style, and he finds Nkunku, but there's a Barrow player, Emil Aqua, down inside the penalty area. He was the player that went up with Jorgensen for that aerial ball back into the Chelsea box, and he's come off worst, so the Chelsea counter-attack is stopped 3-0.
Far more decisive though from the goalkeeper, Philip Jorgensen. This time he did come off his line, jumped early, was really strong in collecting the ball, and then his awareness as well to send Chelsea away. That was excellent goalkeeping.
Well, Robert Sanchez is the number one choice. Well, Andy Jacobs isn't enamoured with the goalkeeping options that Chelsea have at their disposal.
You surprised me that Andy Jacobs isn't over enamoured.
Well, whether it's basically either end of the pitch, isn't it? It's the striking aspect, although we've seen two terrific finishes from Nkunku tonight, and the goalkeeping. But I think Sanchez is quite a progressive goalkeeper with the ball at his feet, the way that he tries to keep Chelsea moving.
Yeah, don't disagree with that.
Certainly did all right at Brighton in that regard, didn't he, when he was doing the Seagulls bidding.
I think here Philip Jorgensen's one for the future, isn't he? Young, very young goalkeeper. They spent decent money on him. What is he, Danish under-21 international?
Yeah, he's 22 years of age.
Yeah.
Made his debut against Servette. Made nearly 50 appearances for Villarreal, which is a decent number for a young keeper in La Liga. I can tell you that Aqua is back on his feet and just moving away to this near touchline. He's going to be okay to continue, but I can't imagine there's going to be much more action before the first half is brought to a close by the referee. Manchester City 2, Watford 0 is a half-time score. Harrogate 1, Liverpool's under-21s 0. And the ball's rolled back to Jorgensen, midway point of his own half, up for Disasi, just shy of the halfway line. Maybe one last chance this half, is there? No, the referee puts the whistle to his lips and brings the first half to a close, where Chelsea, as you might expect given the number of places in the football pyramid between them and Barrow, firmly in control of proceedings. 3-0 up and cruising through to round 4, although it was a slightly shaky start from Chelsea. Didn't play at their best, certainly, for the first few minutes of the game, but then suddenly 8 minutes gone, João Felix lobs it into the area for Christopher Nkunku to finish. A quite superb move involving Neto and Gusto saw Nkunku flick in a second, Gianfranco Zola style on the quarter hour, and then a João Felix free kick just shy of the half hour hit the post, hit the back of the luckless Barrow keeper Paul Farman, and went in for 3-0, and that's the half-time score, Matt Holland.
Yeah, and a deserved half-time lead for Chelsea. Those moments of quality, the difference between the two sides. I think Barrow have given a gutsy display. They started brightly, started on the front foot. They've looked to press when they can. Long free kicks and long throws into the area have caused one or two problems for Chelsea, albeit Disasi's won his fair share in the air. But Chelsea, you just feel as though can step it up at any moment. When you look at that front four, you would have expected them to be in control of the game at half-time and to have scored a few goals, and that's exactly how it's panned out. Neto and Mudryk out wide. We've seen flashes of their pace, but the ones that have done the damage are João Felix and Christopher Nkunku. They've been the real quality. João Felix dropping off, getting himself into space, the awareness, the quality, the way he picked out the pass for the first goal for Christopher Nkunku, and Nkunku's finishing has been exceptional. He probably is I think their most natural finisher. Again, it's a case of him staying fit. Maresca's talked about him being a number 9 now. He and Jackson are fighting it out for that position. But the quality at the top end of the pitch has been the difference between the two sides, and Chelsea in total control at half-time.
And Chelsea have got 10 outfield players out there that don't need a breather, they don't need a night off. So there's every possibility that these players could stay out for quite a while out there before Enzo Maresca decides to make any changes. Yeah,
he might want to give an opportunity to one or two of the youngsters, get them on the pitch at some stage. Tyreek George, potentially in those forward positions. But I think he'd be reasonably happy to give them as many minutes as possible. That's what this competition is so good for the top sides, if they can stay in it for a long time, because it's really difficult in the Premier League to just give somebody minutes, whereas in this competition you can rotate and they can get the vital minutes into the legs. So why wouldn't you keep the one as long as you can?
And a quick thought for what Stephen Clements might be saying to his players as they go back into the away dressing room?
Well, it's a great learning curve for them. I think that's the way he has to look at it. At half-time, they're 3-0 down. There's no way they're going to get back into the game. The game's done and dusted. Ultimately, they're going out the competition. But it's a great learning curve. Playing in front of a big crowd, playing at a Premier League ground against Premier League players, international players, top-class players, and realising what the difference is between you and them. So it's a great learning curve for them.
Matt, thanks for the time being. Matt Holland's with us tonight on Talksport 2, and Chelsea are firmly in control of this round 3 tie. The Premier League side are 3-0 up on Barrow. That's the half-time score. Full commentary of the second half coming next, as well as a half-time roundup here on Talksport 2.
You might want to step back from your speaker or remove your headphones.
Yes! I just can't believe it.
Mark's found out he's won £11.4 million on Lotto.
This is just... You know what? I've got tears in my eyes.
Yep, that's 11.4 million. Lotto, will you be the next millionaire? The National Lottery. Rules and procedures apply. Players must be 18 or over.
With the biggest range of cars to buy entirely online, it's no wonder everyone's cinching it.
I cinched it during spin class. Think I'm going to be sick.
I cinched it in this coffee shop.
What are you having?
The 5-door hatchback.
This is your captain speaking. I cinched it before takeoff with a 14-day money-back guarantee.
With so many great reasons to buy, the nation aren't just nailing it, they're cinching it. Comparison against equivalent retailers. Visit cinch.co.uk/range claim. Mileage restrictions and terms apply.
Lighten the load for the rest of the year with EE's ultra-fast broadband, free for 3 months.
I'm sorry, did you say free? Free like nothing at all? What, for 3 whole months?
You bet. And you'll get speeds of 150 meg.
And it's powered by BT.
Switch before the 26th of September to pay absolutely nothing for 3 months.
£33.99 for a month for 24 months. Price increases on 31st of March each year by £3 a month. 43.7% UK availability. New customers.
At Lidl, get 50% off all apples with Lidl Plus. That's 50% off the sweetest pink ladies, the best of British Bramleys and Galas. So whether you pick them for that super crunch or the little one's lunch, download Lidl Plus and get 50% off all apples today. 18 plus GB only. T's and C's apply. See lidl.co.uk/LPTV. Subject to availability. Selected stores. Offer ends 2nd of October 24.
At NatWest, we think Britain's small businesses are a big deal. It's why we've helped more businesses get started in the last year than any other UK bank. Get 2 years free banking on everyday transactions when you open a NatWest startup account, plus free digital tools and expert advice. Ready to take your first step? Search NatWest Business. Tomorrow begins today with NatWest, proud partner of Team GB. To verify, email checkit@natwest.com. Eligibility criteria, terms and conditions apply. Other fees may apply.
Talksport Podcast League. Outspoken with White and Jordan.
Listen to the latest show whenever and wherever you want with Outspoken, the podcast from Talksport.
I still think there's a lot of questions that need to be answered.
All killer, no filler conversation.
Did you say that he should be investigated by trading standards?
That doesn't pull any punches.
Yeah, because he was rubbish.
Outspoken with Jim Mighty White and Lord Simon Jordan.
That's a bit over the top. Well, there we are.
Out now.
Listen or download for free from your favourite podcast portal.
Friday night.
Live Championship football.
On Talksport 2.
What a finish! Plymouth versus Luton Town.
Coverage from 7, kick-off 8 p.m, and it's smuggled in on the line.
Friday night. Ultimate Football Radio. On Talksport 2.
And here they come. What a magnificent sight. Yes, it's live British horse racing on the radio, and Talksport 2 have got it covered.
Friday afternoon from 1, Talksport 2 will bring you full coverage and live race commentary of all the action direct from Worcester.
Saddle up for live British horse racing on the radio. Download the Talksport app or ask your smart speaker to play Talksport 2 to follow all the action.
Friday afternoon from 1
on Talksport 2.
Hard-hitting football coverage.
Drives it in off the post.
The League Cup live on Talksport 2.
João Felix, centre of the Barrow half. Options ahead of him, lofts it into Nkunku, inside the area, and Nkunku knocks it into the back of the net.
He's not a bad player. Now, that front four, when you look at it on paper, Neto, Felix, Mudryk, and Nkunku, I mean, it should be doing some damage, shouldn't it?
And it already has. Then a little back heel to get Gusto, charging down the right side of the box, and a clip into the net for Nkunku for 2-0. That is quite superb. That would grace a Champions League final. A goal like that. Never mind a Carabao Cup tie.
It's tough, isn't it, for Barrow, because they haven't done a lot wrong. They press when they can. Certainly early on in the game, they had some good moments.
Barrow players wait to try and charge it down. Felix goes for goal, and it's in. I think it went in off the goalkeeper via the post. João Felix will claim it.
Chelsea have had 3 shots on goal and scored 3 goals. It's just that moments of quality is the difference between the two levels.
You're listening to Carabao Cup live on Talksport 2. I'm Ian Danter, your commentator. Matt Holland is alongside me tonight. The former Ipswich, Charlton, Republic of Ireland midfielder. Scored at the World Cup. Sorry, I forgot to say that. I meant to say that every time.
Don't like talking about it, you know that.
I know you don't. Half-time score here is indeed Chelsea 3, Barrow 0. Let's give you the other scores in the EFL Cup tonight in round 3 ties. Manchester City 2, Watford 0 is also a half-time score. Goals from Jeremy Doku and Matheus Nunes putting Manchester City in control. Walsall and Leicester are goalless at the break at the Poundland Stadium. So there's a potential for Matt Sadler's Saddlers to force a penalty shootout there against Steve Cooper's much-changed Leicester side. And they're still playing in the first half live over on Talksport at Adams Park, where it's goalless between Wickham and Aston Villa. Got matches in League One tonight, which are all at half-time. Huddersfield 0, Blackpool 2, Leyton Orient 1, Peterborough 2. Malik Mothersill with a penalty right on half-time to put Peterborough ahead. They were behind. And Wigan 0, Stevenage 0. In the EFL Trophy, half-time, Harrogate 1, Liverpool Academy 0. This is in the northern section. In Group F, late on in the second half, Doncaster 3, Manchester United 2. Half-time in Group C of the southern section, Bromley 1, Chelsea 2. Gillingham 1, Palace 3 is on 86 minutes in Group D. The kick-off times are all over the place in the EFL Trophy tonight. Group F, Burton 0, Notts County 2 with a couple of minutes to go, and similarly a couple of minutes to go at St James Park, where it's Exeter 1, Tottenham's Academy 0. And around the National League tonight, AFC Fylde 0, Tamworth 0. These are all half-times. Aldershot 0, Barnet 1, Altrincham 1, Dagenham and Redbridge 1, Braintree 0, FC Halifax Town 0, Eastleigh 1, Woking 1, Gateshead 2, Boston United 0, Hartlepool 0, Rochdale 1, Maidenhead 1, Ebbsfleet 0, Oldham 1, Forest Green 0, Solihull 0, York 1, Sutton 0, Yeovil 0, and Wealdstone 0, Southend 0. That little cheer you heard was to accompany the emergence of a player we were talking about just before half-time, Matt Holland.
Yeah, Ben Chilwell out warming up. Looks like he's going to be coming on at half-time. That's the indication. He's got his shirt on. Extensive warm-up. Fairly confident he'll be getting the nod at the start of the second half.
Well, tomorrow night we bring you more Carabao Cup third round action here on Talksport 2. Last season's winners, who beat Chelsea, Liverpool, they welcome West Ham United to Anfield, and the Red Army's boss Arne Slot wants to build on the success the team had in the competition last year.
Not only fans love winning trophies, players do, and managers do as well. So we all love to win something, but that's far away. We have to play our first game of this tournament tomorrow, and like I said, it's a tough one with West Ham United at home. But yeah, it's always nice to win something, and I know in the history of the club, they won it a lot of times. Recently, last season, in a very special way, with so many youngsters on the pitch in the final. So I think if you've won it last season, it gives a bit of. We are aware of the fact that we won it last season, so that we are the holders of that trophy. So we have to protect that. Is that the right word to use? Maybe not perfect, but we're going to give everything to win it again. Let's put it that way.
Meantime, the West Ham boss Julian Lopetegui, he's licking his wounds a little bit after Chelsea, who we're watching tonight, went to the London Stadium on Saturday lunchtime and walloped West Ham by 3 goals to 0. He's taken full responsibility for the result and that performance.
On the Saturday match about this, and I say that the first responsible was me, always. But this happened, and now we are focusing in the next match. But for sure that all of us, the first that make mistakes always is the coach. The mistakes they are part of the football, because we take decisions, and the decisions sometimes work, sometimes better, sometimes worse. But we have to follow taking the decisions and being able to help the team to compete better. I am sure that the team is going to compete better, and they are going to arrive the results and the scores that we want. The season is going to be very long for all of the teams, and with one victory more, you are thinking about other things. About this, for me, there are not all other things that the match of tomorrow.
Julian Lopetegui and his West Ham side travel to Anfield tomorrow night, 8 o'clock kickoff. I'll be your commentator on Talksport 2 for that all-Premier League affair, and Stuart Pearce will be alongside me. Now, Dominic Telford is coming on for Barrow, and so this will be a nice moment actually for Neo Eccleston, who came through the Chelsea Academy until 2020 and was let go, and he's coming on as one of a couple of changes. And Ben Chilwell, as you mentioned, is coming on, and he's coming on for Malo Gusto, who's got a 45-minute run at Matt Holland after he's come back from injury. So maybe that was the plan all along, just to ease Gusto back into his football and then give Chilwell 45 minutes.
It didn't look like there was an injury as we approached half-time, with Malo Gusto, which is good news. Looked like he got through that 45 minutes. There was one or two people saying to me before the game, I'm surprised he's actually starting him. Thought he might have saved him for the weekend, but important that he got himself back onto the pitch, got him some minutes, and so that's good news. He looks like he's okay. Looks like Disassi has come to right back, Chilwell to left back. Yeah, and Badiashile and Vega, centre-backs.
So it's all changed at the back for Chelsea. And the players going off for Barrow, Emil Aqua, who just had that challenge.
Who did get a knock.
Jorgensen did get a knock. And also Rory Feely, he's gone off. And Noah Eccleston is on, so too Dominic Telford. And we're ready for the off for the second half. So Chelsea, Jorgensen in goal. It's now Disassi, Badiashile, Vega and Chilwell in the back four. Cassidy, Dewsbury Hall, Neto, Felix, Mudryk and Nkunku. For Barrow, Farman in goal. It's now Eccleston, Vassell, Stokes, Jackson, Newby, and then Campbell, Foley, Spence, Telford and Garner for the Bluebirds. Incidentally, there's another EFL Cup tie tomorrow. Arsenal-Bolton is a 7:45 kickoff, but our concentration over on Talksport at 8 o'clock will be Manchester United's Europa League opener against FC Twente. Pat Holden, what were you going to say?
No, I was just going to say the slight sort of tactical shift now from Chelsea is that instead of Gusto coming into midfield as he was in the first half, or from the right back position, it's Chilwell actually from the left back position that's gone into midfield, which has meant Dewsbury Hall coming out to this right side of the midfield rather than the left. Whether that'll open up a bit more space for him to get on the ball, time will tell.
It is kind of three at the back for Chelsea, with Chilwell playing a sort of Cancelo role or a Rico Lewis role like we've seen lately for Manchester City. And Dewsbury Hall gets his head to the ball inside the box, but it rather comes off the top of his head. He couldn't direct it goalwards. And Barrow, who are defending the Matthew Harding, away to our right in this second half. Barrow wearing their change strip of yellow and black shirts, black shorts and socks. Barrow kicking towards the shed end where their 3,000 travelling fans looking on, still making a fair amount of noise. Chelsea in their regulation blue shirts and shorts and white socks here at Stamford Bridge. A minute into the second half. 3-0 at the break to Chelsea. Dumped downfield by Farman. Incidentally, it's Wickham 0, Aston Villa 0 at half-time. And here comes Chelsea. It's through to Mudryk inside the area, across for Pedro Neto, and it's only taken Chelsea 2 minutes since the restart to increase their lead still further. And Mykhailo Mudryk unselfishly rolled the ball across the face of goal for Pedro Neto to get his first goal for Chelsea in front of the Matthew Harding end after a swift break down the centre of the field. It was Mudryk driving it across goal, and Neto had so much space to drive it underneath Farman for Chelsea to lead by 4-0.
Well, we've seen some brilliant goals from Chelsea, some real magic in that first half, but this is a mistake at the back, a big mistake. I think it's Chris Stokes who gets underneath the ball, misjudges the bounce, and Nkunku reads it. He gets through the wrong side of him, plays the ball through to Mudryk, who's really unselfish, could have gone for goal himself, could have had an extra touch and gone for goal, but sees Neto free inside the box, finds him, and Neto guides it past Paul Farman. 4-0. I mean, the game was over at half-time. It is very much done and dusted now.
Damage limitation is the little phrase coming into my mind more and more as this game continues. Just a question now of how ruthless Chelsea want to be, Matt Holland.
Well, I think the players are hungry to lay down markers, aren't they, to Enzo Maresca. That's the beauty of having a big squad and competition for places, that when you get an opportunity, you have to perform. Otherwise, you're going to be nowhere near that starting 11 come the Premier League Saturday. So I think the players are hungry to make an impression.
There is that phrase, don't tell me, show me, about players who knock on the door and want match time.
We were talking off air, weren't we, about Pedro Neto wanting to get himself on the score sheet. He has done, and here he goes again.
Down the right-hand side for Chelsea. Cuts it infield to Dewsbury Hall. Lays it off to Cassidy. Cassidy dispossessed for a moment, but good strength from the Italian. And fires it out via Chilwell to the left-hand side for Mykhailo Mudryk. Faced up by Eccleston. Now it's back out on that left-hand side with the Ukrainian. Once again, Eccleston just trying to man-mark him. Mudryk goes past him, plays it across the face of goal. It's headed out to the edge of the box. Dewsbury Hall forces a fantastic save from Farman, flinging himself to his right to tip it behind for a Chelsea corner. That was so nearly 5-0.
Well, if you're coaching Mykhailo Mudryk, you just say to him, stand up your defender, run at him. Take him on for pace, because you've got the beating of him. And I don't mean just tonight. I'm talking about every week. You know, he's so quick. Just have that belief and confidence in yourself that you can do it.
Short corner for Chelsea. It's played to Chilwell, level with the edge of the area, left-hand side. Now rolled in field for Mudryk. A few shouts of shoot from the Chelsea fans around us, but he'll just lob it into the area. Badiashile tries to turn it goalwards as he runs across the 6-yard line, but he can't get the connection he wanted, and it's just dribbled behind for a Barrow goal kick.
With all the players you wanted that to fall to inside the box, it probably wasn't Benoit Badiashile. On the swivel. Didn't even get a connection, did he? Or not much of one anyway.
No, it dribbled a bit away from him, Benoit Badiashile. But it is 4-0 to Chelsea. Ball stumped downfield by Paul Farman, who was unfortunately credited with that third Chelsea goal as an own goal. It seemed to come off his backside or his lower back and into the net after Felix's free kick struck the base of the post after about half an hour. Chilwell with a throw for Chelsea. Goes down under pressure from Gerard Garner and will have a free kick. Manchester United's academy have equalised in the 96th minute at Doncaster. 3-3. Lewis Jackson with the equaliser. Here's Badiashile in front of his own penalty area for Chelsea in this revamped defensive line. A back three they've got, which goes Disasi, Badiashile, Vega from right to left. Chilwell will give it back to Vega. Badiashile now fires the ball up to halfway and finds Kieran Dewsbury-Hall. Neto calling for it on this near side, but he's immediately faced up by a defender. Lovely ball floated down the right hand side of the box for Felix. Little drop of the shoulder, pulls it across the face of goal, just gets away from Nkunku, who wants his hat-trick, and Barrow should be able to clear their lines. 4-0, 51 minutes gone. They do indeed clear their lines. Dominic Telford finds Sam Foley, and he was barged into. And Stephen Clements wants more than just a free kick, I fancy, but a free kick is all that there is for Barrow. So Chilwell back in the Chelsea team for the first time since April, out there as part of a revamped Chelsea backline that might just have conceded a corner. It's a free kick in actual fact, as Badiashile barged into Gerard Garner, and Barrow have a free kick down the left-hand side of the box, right in front of their fans at the Shed-In. 4-0 Chelsea.
Who have been in great voice. Credit to those supporters that have made the 305-mile trip down to Stamford Bridge.
I'm trying to think which service station they're going to hit first on the way back.
They'll be going straight to work, won't they, in the morning?
Quite possibly.
It won't be far off it.
Be a few cans of energy drink maybe sunk by one or two if they're trying to be responsible. I'm going for Cherwell Valley on the M40. I reckon that's where their first stop will be, of several.
Yeah.
Free kick to Barrow down the left-hand side of the Chelsea box. And Kean Spence and Ben Jackson, the two players standing up. Jackson, left-footed, could sort of swing it away from the goalkeeper, but it's Spence to go for the near post. Good save by Jorgensen. That was on its way in. Good goalkeeping. Comes back to Spence on this near side. The Barrow left. Jackson does swing it in left-footed. Sam Foley tries to work it back across the face of goal. It's back with Ben Jackson. Right-footed ball in. Half volleyed, cleared by Badiashile, not too convincingly. Barrow have it back, and Foley hits a good ball out to Eccleston. What can the former Chelsea kid do against Badiashile? Down the right-hand side of the area. Makes room for a cross, decent ball in, headed away by Disasi. And Mudryk protecting the ball from the on-rushing Foley inside his own box. Knocks it back for Badiashile, but Eccleston's there again for Barrow, but his header down. Would have found two Barrow players offside coming back from offside position, so they leave it well alone. And then Dewsbury-Hall's foul. Telford finds Foley. Tried to sneak it into the box for Garner. Almost found its way through, but instead Cassidy brings it away very stylishly until in slides Dean Campbell with a no-nonsense clearance to put it out for a throw. 4-0 Chelsea. Matt Holland.
Good period for the visitors. Keeping the pressure on, keeping the ball inside the Chelsea box, and a decent effort actually from Kean Spence. towards the near post. Jorgensen had to make a smart save down to his right.
It's Barrow's first time in round 3 since they came back into the EFL in 2020. They did make round 3 twice in the 1960s. They lost to my lot in 1962-3 on Birmingham City's way to winning the trophy in what was only its second year, I think, as a competition. Ball sent down the Barrow right, but Eccleston is offside.
One previous meeting between these two sides finished 5-0, didn't it?
FA Cup 1958, I believe. I don't think anybody out there was involved that day. Because that's what you look at, isn't it? Was anybody involved last time these two teams played?
We certainly weren't commentating.
No, we certainly were not. It's Ian Danter and Matt Holland with you on Talksport 2. Over on Talksport, they're at half-time at Adams Park, where League One Wycombe are 0-0 with Premier League Aston Villa. Jim Proudfoot and Troy Dean, your commentary team there in Buckinghamshire. Second half about to get underway there. You can use the Talksport app and swipe between our two commentaries. But here come Chelsea and Mudryk again, darting down the left-hand side with some menace. And Theo Vassell did enough to put him off getting across him, but it is a corner to Chelsea at the Matthew Harding end. 4-0 they lead.
There's some pace in those wide positions. Neto and Mudryk, you know, if Barrow do try and step up, there's so much space in behind, and those two are going to exploit it. But they've got to be willing to run, and we've seen it actually more and more so in this game. Mudryk's definitely looked to get him beyond his man and utilise that pace.
I'm not sure I've seen one Chelsea corner hit direct into the box yet. They've got a short corner routine. They're going to hit it direct into the box now, I've said that. In fact, yep, Neto runs away. João Felix will send it in, right-footed, in swinger. 6 yards out, heading goals by Disasi, and well pushed behind for another corner by Farman. Stays 4-0.
He's made 2 big saves already. One from Dewsbury Hall, this header as well from Disasi. This second half, I mean, it could be worse for them. 4-0 down, it could have been more.
I mentioned he's kept 4 clean sheets in League 2 this season, Paul Farman. That will mean a lot to him that he's made 2 good, strong saves. The one from Dewsbury Hall was outstanding. Corner to Chelsea, where the stand that we're in, the East Stand, meets the Matthew Harding. And again, there's a short corner routine on offer, but Pedro Neto looks favourite to strike this, but Oliver Langford wants a word with Benoit Badiashile before this corner kick is taken. Doesn't like the pushing and shoving that he's engaging in the penalty area, so a bit of a ticking off for the Chelsea number 5, who can now retake his position now that the ticking off is finished. And Neto has actually 2 players with him for a short corner option. Felix standing right next to him, and Chilwell about 10 yards further back down the touchline. Both those players run away, so another direct corner coming in, this time from Pedro Neto. Deep to the far post, turned goalwards by Nkunku. Eccleston gets it half clear. Bit of pinball around the box. Comes out to Dewsbury Hall, left-hand corner of the area. Drifts it to the far post. It might drop for Disasi in front of goal. Angle was tight, and it was chested behind by the goalkeeper, Farman, for another Chelsea corner. 4-0.
Yeah, it was a strange defensive header back towards his own goal. I'm not entirely sure who it was. Chelsea keep it alive, and they've played another short corner.
To Chilwell, level with the area. Mudryk has come in field, slides it down the right wing for Neto. Cross with his right foot, goes over everyone's head at the far post. Cassidy was closest to it. Kept in play on the far side by Dewsbury Hall. Dewsbury Hall, lovely ball up to Felix, edge of the area. Oh, he just played it through the legs of the on-running Dean Campbell, but just couldn't get to the second ball before it was intercepted. Mudryk back into the box, almost dropped for Badiashile. Now dropped at the edge of the area for Chesney Cassidy, but he tries one trick too many, and Barrow get it up to Garner, who gets a shove in the back from Vega, and Barrow get a free kick.
Party tricks are out now for Chelsea. João Felix enjoying himself. He's been excellent tonight. He really has. For an hour, he's been the best player on the pitch. And Nkunku's finishing has been superb, but João Felix's all-round display has been excellent.
Tell you what, if there's a rant from Andy Jacobs at about 6 minutes past 1 tomorrow when he's on Talksport with Paul.
What's he going to rant about?
Exactly. It can't possibly be a rant.
He'll find something.
Maybe. Find out tomorrow from 1 o'clock on Talksport with Paul and Andy, taking you through the afternoon as only they can. 4-0 here to Chelsea. Nearly an hour gone on Talksport 2. As one-sided as it's been, it's also been a very enjoyable watch. Ian Danter and Matt Holland with you on Talksport 2. Our producer Will's enjoying it anyway as a Chelsea fan. Enjoying putting a team to the sword. It is a strange old time to be a Chelsea fan, although 5th in the Premier League looks pretty good on the face of it, Matt Holland.
Yeah, I think it's been a reasonable start. And actually, they finished last season pretty well as well. Let's not forget that. I know Pochettino's not still in charge. And Maresca, I think, has done an excellent job of just keeping things ticking over at the start of the season. Gone about his job in a quiet, controlled fashion.
After they lost
real
to
headlines.
Manchester City on the opening weekend, that could easily have been, a portent to a bad start to the season, but back-to-back wins, including the 3-0 win at West Ham, put them on 10 points. That was back-to-back clean sheets as well, but I think it's just as important in these early weeks. And they have the ball, Chelsea on halfway with Disasi, feeds it into Felix, little layoff for Cassidy. Now Chilwell gets his head up, spots Mudryk down the left-hand side, left-hand corner of the box. Chilwell on the overlap, gets it back now, does he? He's just won it from the challenge of the centre-half Jackson, and then hits it against Eccleston and wins Chelsea another corner at the Matthew Harding end, 4-0.
I'll be honest, I don't think that's a great run from Ben Chilwell. I don't think he needs to. He's played the ball out to Mudryk, who's 1v1 against his defender. Just leave him to it. You don't need to go and help him. Just let him attack his defender. He's done it so well tonight. Every time he's faced him up, he's beaten him for pace. Just let him go.
Chelsea have lost 3 Carabao Cup finals since their last win in 2015. And they're desperate to put a bit more silverware on the table. It's a long stretch for them. Nearly 10 years without a League Cup trophy. It's been the preserve of pretty much Manchester City for a good long while. This corner from Felix, deep to the far post, nodded down. Dewsbury Hall fires it goal, that was on its way in, but for Ben Jackson, who just deflected it behind for another corner. The pressure continues from the hosts, 4-0.
He's a goal scorer, isn't he, Dewsbury Hall? He does hit the target. It was a controlled volley from the edge of the box. It's not one of those where he's just tried to lash through it.
I remember seeing him at Luton on loan once we were back underway after Project Restart. Saw him in a game at Reading when he was on loan from
natural finisher.
Completely ran the show.
Yeah.
And Perry Groves, who was alongside me, his eyes were out on stalks watching him. Who's this kid? But here he is in Chelsea trying to prove himself. Another corner from Felix. Deep to the far post, goes beyond everybody in a Chelsea shirt who made a run in from the far side, including Disasi. And a couple of changes being made. And well, you mentioned both of these young players, Tyreek George and Josh Achiampong, are going to come on for Chelsea. And Disasi and Neto are coming off. So Tyreek George, 18, made his debut as a substitute in Servette, so not a Chelsea debut. An academy graduate, an England under-19 forward. He comes on for Neto. And Achiampong, who made his debut in the Premier League in May against Tottenham. That's his only appearance before tonight in a Chelsea shirt. He's a right back come right midfielder, but it looks like he's going into an orthodox right back position as he comes on. And a couple of Chelsea youngsters of 18 years young get their opportunity out there, Matt Holland.
Yeah, great, isn't it? Great chance for them. Great that Enzo Maresca's got the ability to do it with what? They're going to get half an hour's football here, which is fantastic. It's a manager's
dream, isn't it? You want to give players a chance. The game is effectively done and dusted.
No, it's won. I mean, Come on, Barrow aren't winning this 5-4 dance. They're not taking this to penalties. They're not scoring 4 in the last 27 minutes.
I remember watching a game between Port Vale and QPR that was 4-0 to Port Vale with 10 minutes to go on my telly box when I was a little boy. Ended up 4-4.
This is Chelsea against Barrow. 64 places between them in the pyramid dance. Come on.
Killjoy.
You watch this finish 4-4.
Yeah. Here come Barrow trying to put the mockers on Matt Holland with Elliot Newby down the left-hand side. Gerard Garner won't get hold of that. Dewsbury Hall nods it clear. Won't quite make its way through to Tyreek George to get his first touch at Stamford Bridge. In this cup tie, Eccleston, who may or may... I'm trying to think whether he would have come through the same academy sides as the likes of Achiampong and Tyreek George. He's couple of years older, Eccleston, 21 compared to 18, so maybe not. Might be a bit of familiarity there. Another change coming up for Barrow, and going to see Katia Kuyate, who was the only player that missed out from Saturday's win against Newport. He's coming on, and so too is Junior Tiencia for Barrow. So double change. So players coming off. You can see that Newby is one of those coming off, and Garner is the other player being replaced.
And replacing number 10, Jed Gardner. Number 29, Junior.
So Kuyate, who is a forward from the Everton Academy, can play all across the front line. He's on. And Chelsea, meantime, at 4-0 up, are playing the ball around in their own penalty area. So confident are they. Tiencia, incidentally, is a left-back who joined after a brief spell at Solihull Moors. He was a Millwall youth. Junior Tiencia. Balls at the back with Benoit Badiashile for Chelsea. 25 minutes to go on Talksport 2. 4-0, and Felix with a lovely flick for Nkunku, who's still out there on a hat-trick. Feeds it out to the left wing for Mudryk. Brilliant drop of the shoulder, gets the crossing, drops at the edge of the area. Cassidy tries to fire it goalwards, but screws it a good 4 or 5 yards wide of Farman's right-hand post. Goal kick to Barrow, 4-0 Chelsea.
I've enjoyed Mykhailo Mudryk's performance on that left-hand side. And I think that's been one of his better games. Needed it. Come under a bit of pressure. Hasn't quite hit the ground since he's been at the club.
No.
But tonight I've enjoyed his performance. I think he's shown a bit of confidence, shown a bit of positivity when he gets the ball as well. I think sometimes you watch him play, he's a little bit timid, doesn't demand the ball off those around him. Today there's been more about his game.
Now Jackson being closed down by 2 Chelsea players as he tries to bring the ball away downfield for Barrow. Foley, he's being pressurised by Tyreek George, knocks it infield to Jackson. Lovely ball round the corner, and that will get Kian Spence in down the left-hand side. Goes to ground under minimal pressure, but Achiampong did foul him, says Oliver Langford. And Barrow have themselves a free kick at the left-hand corner of the Chelsea penalty area, and a chance to send something goalwards here at 4-0 down.
Yeah, didn't look a lot in that. Achiampong using his body strength, getting across his man, showed good pace to get himself back as well. I think it's a little unfortunate to have had a free kick awarded against him.
Well, Spence and Jackson are again the 2 players standing over the Barrow set piece, right in front of their supporters in the shed end, in that corner just down to our left hand side. Favours the right footer here in terms of Kian Spence, I would say. It's almost at the left hand corner of the penalty area. There's a 3-man Chelsea wall protecting Philip Jorgensen's near post. So will it be Spence or Jackson to hit it for the Cumbrians? It is Kian Spence, right-footed, decent delivery and pushed away. Could have caught it actually, Philip Jorgensen, but elected to push it behind. Eventually trickles behind for a corner kick to Barrow. 4-0 Chelsea.
Well, there's a fair bit of power on that. I can understand Jorgensen just deciding to punch that away. The ball was just moving a bit in the air as well. He caught it quite sweetly. He was positioned well though, wasn't he, to deal with it?
He was in the right spot. Corner that Jackson will take over on that far side. A left-footed in-swinger from the right wing for Barrow at the shed end. Bit of bumping and boring in the 6-yard box. Ball goes onto the 6-yard line, headed up and out by Badiashile. Nodded back into the area, might drop for a Barrow player in front of goal. It's pinball around the area, and finally it comes off the boot of Tiencia, and Jorgensen can just catch it on his 6-yard line. That was bedlam inside the Chelsea 6-yard box just for a moment, but it stays 4-0.
Just wouldn't fall, would it, for a Barrow player, and the away end anticipating that, finding its way into the back of the net, but it just wouldn't fall.
It reminded me of there was a goalmouth scramble, I think for QPR's equaliser at Sheffield Wednesday a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
Where it was just bodies everywhere, and eventually somehow, I didn't know where the ball was for about 10 seconds, and then it gets slammed into the back of the net by QPR. What we just saw there wasn't far behind that. Here come Barrow again. It's with Dean Campbell. Lovely ball floated Down the left-hand side, Contiencia keep it in play. Not quite as he tried to fire it across the face of goal. It actually was Kouyaté who fired it into the side netting. And that's a goal kick to Chelsea. And we've got just over 20 minutes to go on Talksport 2. Still 0-0 between Walsall and Leicester, which has had the same amount of time roughly as our game has had. And it's still 0-0 at Adams Park into the second half live on Talksport between Wickham and Aston Villa. So there is jeopardy around tonight in the Carabao Cup. Manchester City look safely through 2-0 up against Watford. Chelsea look to be home and host here. As soon as I say that, Villa take the lead at Wickham Wanderers, and it's Emi Buendia on his route back from that horrific injury who's put Villa ahead 10 minutes into the second half live on Talksport. Kouyaté has the ball on halfway for Barrow, running at the Chelsea backline, got them backpedaling a bit. Tries to just drag it into his own path with a bit of skill, but he dragged it too far across and Chelsea could retrieve possession. Mentioned Kouyaté was in the Everton Academy, came here in the summer and thanked Barrow for believing in him, for giving him an opportunity after being released. And that can never be a very nice feeling when you're released from an academy.
Well, no, I mean, I'll say I've been there, really.
You were at West Ham, I guess.
Yeah, I was offered a contract to stay, decided to leave, needed to be playing first team football at that age, 20 at the time. But sometimes you have to take a step back to come back forwards again, and it's a real test of character when you get released. You can go one of two ways.
Chelsea win it back again, deep inside the Barrow half. A chance for Tyreek George to score his first goal as a senior Chelsea player, and he screws the shot wide from inside the box. Barrow nearly punished again for giving the ball away. 4-0 it stays.
Well, they should have been punished further, because this is a great opportunity for Tyreek George. That 12 yards out, slight angle, goalkeeper coming out of his goal quite quickly to narrow the angle, but he still had plenty of room to aim at. Just dragged his shot wide of the post for a moment. I think it was about 4-on-2, real overload on the right hand side. Tyreek George was in acres of space, couldn't quite find the back of the net. No, just saying, when you get released, your attitude can be, well, okay, well, I'm never going to make it, or do you know what, I'll show them and I'll get myself back into a position where, at the top level and the top table again. And you have to rebuild. Sometimes, as I say, you have to go backwards, realise that you're maybe not quite ready at that stage of your career to play at that level, but don't ever doubt your ability.
Eccleston, good run down the right hand side for Barrow to the dead ball line, tries to pull it back and it's deflected behind by good defending from Vega. Corner kick though to Barrow at the shed end. Still 4-0 to Chelsea.
And the other thing is, when you get released, ultimately it's one or two people's opinions that count. Well, you might go somewhere else and those one or two people that make the decisions actually have a different opinion of you as well. So the game is about opinions.
Next thing you know, you're Lenny Lawrence's main man down at Bournemouth.
Lenny Lawrence?
I got it wrong, did I?
Mel Machin?
Neil Machin.
Mel Machin, yeah.
Mel Machin, that's it.
He was the manager
Mel Machin, because you went to the manager's office every Friday
every day.
For
every day.
For a cup of tea.
How the lads?
What's going on?
What's going on?
Spy in the camp.
Spy in the camp. How are the lads? If you don't ask questions, you don't understand. You don't get answers. You don't know what's going on, do you?
And Matt Holland went on to have an illustrious career. Who knows what Katia Kouyaté could achieve. Now he's dropped down from a Premier League academy side to have a go as a 21-year-old at League Two football. Hasn't scored yet in what will be 11 appearances after coming on as a sub tonight. But he's part of a vibrant squad that is at the top of League Two at the moment. And they have lots of potential for the season to come. Credit Pete Wild for a lot of the building blocks that were put in place. Mudryk for Chelsea gets into the area, tries to pull it back to find João Felix, and a little foot in from Chris Stokes did enough to keep the ball away from the other number 14 out there.
Just the beliefs come back to Mudryk
now
tonight.
Farman. He's been dispossessed by Nkunku, who scores his hat-trick for Chelsea, and a horrible moment for the Barrow goalkeeper, who holds his hand up apologetically in Paul Farman. who was trying to play the ball around inside his own 18-yard box, dispossessed by Christopher Nkunku, and he has a hat-trick that he's been sitting on since about the quarter of an hour mark. But as we reach the late stages of this game, he has his third. Chelsea have their fifth. Chelsea 5, Barrow 0.
Yeah, Paul Farman thought he had about half an hour on the ball. He didn't. He had less than a second. He had a touch, thought about it, and another touch. And Nkunku read it, was quick to react, nicked it off him. Could have played a teammate in, but had the awareness to swivel, turn, and poke it into the empty net and complete his hat-trick. He's been excellent tonight. A terrific all-round performance from him. Deserves his hat-trick. As I say, he's probably, I think, the best finisher at the club. On to 6 goals for the season. Not a bad return already, is it?
And a double change being made by Chelsea on the back of that 5th goal. João Felix is coming off. And Nkunku, having just got his hat-trick, is coming off. Carney Chukwuemeka, former Villa Academy graduate, is going to come on for Felix. And Marc Guiu, 18-year-old Spaniard who joined in July from Barcelona, made his debut against Manchester City as a sub late on and played both of the Europa League ties against Servette. He's coming on as a double change for Enzo Maresca. So the question to ask about Nkunku is, and I guess I know the answer based on what Nicholas Jackson did at West Ham last weekend, is how hard is Nkunku pushing Jackson for a starting berth here on Saturday against Brighton, live on Talksport 2, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, he's got to be close, hasn't he? He's terrific performance tonight. His finishing is excellent. I think his all-round game has been pretty good as well, and linked up nicely with João Felix.
Nice link up between the two substitutes, Chukwuemeka and Guiu. Out to Tariq George, another substitute, into the box, right-hand side, fires the shot across the face. He got it's a good save by Farman. Got a strong wrist on that and got it clear. But Chelsea have it back. Chilwell finds Mudryk. 5-0, 76 gone. Mudryk goes for goal and it flashes over the bar, and I think the keeper had it covered. Goal kick.
He did, but you'd be fearful now for Barrow because this could get ugly in the last 15 minutes or so. Tired legs out there. They've got through a lot of work. The adrenaline of being here at Stamford Bridge as well will be taking its toll now late on in the game.
And newly introduced motivated Chelsea players out there.
Absolutely. And they look like they've gone up a little gear again, Chelsea. It's going to be a tough last 15 minutes or so for them.
That's what we're into. In actual fact, there's 13 minutes of normal time to play. Farman will clear the ball right-footed downfield. He's getting the bird from some of the Chelsea fans as he takes the goal kick downfield. And holding on Tariq George in the centre circle gives Chelsea a free kick taken by Barry Ashiel. Chelsea's under 21, so 3-0 up, 3-1 up, forgive me. Bromley, Harvey Vale's got his second of the night for the academy squad. Harrogate 1, Liverpool 1 in the same competition. James Norris has equalised. We're at Anfield tomorrow night on Talksport 2 for the All Premier League tie, Liverpool West Ham. Myself and Stuart Pearce, your commentary team, up at Anfield with Manchester United's Europa League tie against FC Twente live on Talksport at the same time. Good tenacious work from Barrow in the midfield to win the ball. Dominic Telford goes down on the halfway line. Bit of a goal machine in some of his previous clubs. Only got one so far this season. Former Crawley centre forward. Out on the right hand side for Barrow. It's one of those changes. Chelsea have possession just shy of the halfway line, and it's brought forward by Achiampong. Here's George, faced up by Kouyaté. Little quick feet from him as he moves the ball in field and finds Barry Ashiel on the halfway line. Vega just on the other side of the centre circle takes it off him, strokes it out to Mudryk, who almost put it straight out of play beyond Mudryk, but the Ukrainian did well to keep it in play. And now Cassidy, Chelsea just calming things down here, just knocking the ball around and waiting for a chance to go through the gears. Here's Dewsbury Hall.
I've just seen Stephen Clements though just saying to his team, get behind the ball, get behind the ball, because you don't want to be totally embarrassed, do you?
Mudryk, will he drop the shoulder and go at Eccleston? Not this time. He knocks it in field. Very strong pass into the feet of Chukwuemeka, who holds it up well. Dewsbury Hall tried to give it back to him, only half cleared by Barrow. George picks it up at the right hand corner of the penalty area. Kouyaté with him. Now Chukwuemeka. Lovely ball into the area. Surely Guyu's being held. His shirt was being held by the defender, Chris Stokes, but the referee, Oliver Langford, didn't spot it. And in actual fact, he's given a goal kick to Barrow. 5-0.
I mean, he just hasn't seen it, has he? There's a clear pull on the back of the shirt. It should have been a penalty. He's gone in on goal.
But you couldn't see what number he was.
No,
that's how much he was pulling on the shirt.
He's been dragged back, yeah. I think from the referee's perspective, he's probably got an obstructed view. Couldn't see it clearly. Maybe I'm just being kind.
Just over 10 minutes to go. 5-0 to Chelsea. A hat-trick for Christopher Nkunku.
Maybe he was being kind.
Maybe.
By not giving the penalty.
But he's not meant to be. That's not in the laws of the game.
No.
There is not a law for the referees to say be kind when a team is 5-0 down. Call it as you see it. But maybe he did not somehow spot what we could see from up here with our bird's eye view. Nevertheless, it's all semantics. Chelsea are going through very, very comfortably here. Barrow in possession with Tientia on the inside left channel. Comes infield. Good challenge at Chiampong to win it back for Chelsea, but striding in is Chris Stokes to win it back. Bromley 2, Chelsea 3 in the Football League trophy, so Bromley not done yet. Good run down the left-hand side by Kouyaté. Real box of tricks down that left-hand side, and he's won a corner and he's whipping up the Barrow fans behind the goal. You've got to love that. You've got to love that. 5-0 Chelsea, and he's whipping up the fans.
Brilliant, isn't it? You still fancy this. Fancy the chances of a goal. Corner, pretty much everyone forward.
I wonder if the goalkeeper fancies getting forward for this.
Well, he does fancy it. He's on the halfway line virtually.
Practically, isn't he, Paul Farman? So,
make up for his mistake.
Yeah. Corner kick in front of the Barrow fans at the shed end. Flung in by Jackson to the far post. Chilwell's the defender at the back post, heading it out. Where's that going to drop? It drops for Guiu, who can bring it forward. Mudryk is the only player up with him in a blue shirt, and good tracking back from Kian Spence to get a toe end on it, so it squirms back to his goalkeeper. 5-0 Chelsea.
Oh, he just didn't see Mudryk away to his left-hand side. Mudryk was free, made an excellent run, didn't get his head up, didn't see him.
Ball downfield, looking for Dominic Telford. Goes out of play. Eccleston will have the throw. Level with the Chelsea penalty area on that right-hand side. Tries to play a 1-2 with Kian Spence, but it comes back to Chukwuemeka. Chilwell clears the ball downfield. Ricochets back into the path of Cassidy, and there's space on the right-hand side for Achiampong to bring it up to halfway. Tried to slide it into the path of Tyreek George, but overhit the pass. And Barrow have themselves a throw-in, and they've got 7.5 minutes plus added time, Barrow, to see if they can get a consolation goal and ruin a potential clean sheet for Philip Jorgensen. Long ball downfield looking for Kouyaté, headed clear by Badiashile. Achiampong, under pressure from Kouyaté, does well to keep it in play on this near touchline, but eventually runs out of room, and it will be a throw to Bromley, right down beneath our commentary position here at Stamford Bridge. Still Huddersfield 0, Blackpool 2. Leyton Orient have equalised against Peterborough. Charlie Kelman made it 2-2 early in the second half, and still 0-0 in League One between Wigan and Stevenage. Those are the 3 games in League One tonight.
How many of those 3,000 Barrow fans are going to make it to Priestfield on Saturday?
Big game that, against Stephen Clemence's former club. There'll be a few, maybe not 3,000. Here's Chukwuemeka knocking into the air looking for Guiu, but that was well watched by, I think it was Theo Vassell, it was indeed, who made sure that Guiu couldn't get a toe end on the ball and that Farman, the goalkeeper, could claim it. 5-0 Chelsea.
Yeah, mentioned that game. Big game for Chelsea as well. Home to Brighton.
Which is live here on Talksport 2 on Saturday afternoon as part of game day.
I'll set them up, you finish and dance.
That's always the plan. Teamwork makes the dream work. It's Alvin Martin who's going to be alongside me at the bridge here on Saturday. Perry Groves is on wading duties at Arsenal, I think. Corner kick to Barrow. Again, a huge roar from those behind the goal at the shed end. greets that decision from Oliver Langford. What can they make of this corner kick, the Cumbrians?
It's Kuyate again, gearing them up.
Yeah, they've got two interesting away matches to come, not just Gillingham but Doncaster, who haven't started the season too badly in League Two, and then home to Cheltenham, Gillingham. So they have a corner. Do Barrow, which is sent in by Jackson, right-footed, punched away by Jorgensen, who's being held by a Barrow player. So it's going to be a free kick to Chelsea. Looking at Chelsea's next few games, we mentioned Brighton here on Talksport 2 Saturday afternoon. Then they've got Ghent here next Thursday in the Europa Conference League. And then a third home game in a row, a week on Sunday against Nottingham Forest, who, let's not forget, won at Liverpool only a week or so ago.
And then a trip to Anfield.
Then they go to Anfield after the October international break. Change for Barrow late on. Off has gone Chris Stokes, and on comes a really experienced player in David Worrell. 627 appearances now in club football for the former Port Vale man. Spent 6 years there at Vale Park before coming to Barrow. Just 34 years of age though, still got gas left in the tank, you would say. And he's on for the last few minutes for Barrow, trying to see this game out and not let the score get any worse. It's 5-0 at the moment to Chelsea. Given away inside the Chelsea half by Vega, missing out Cassidy. Kuyate, good stencil, he's got himself onto his left foot, but the shot was wild. He tried to wrap his left foot round it from fully 30 yards out, but it went way over the crossbar for a goal kick. 5-0.
He's been really lively and busy, hasn't he, since he came on, looking to make an impression. Katia Kuyate.
Tom Ince has just scored a worldie apparently for Watford at the Etihad, so it's Manchester City 2, Watford 1. They've got about 3 or 4 minutes to play there at the Etihad. Remember, if any of these Carabao Cup ties are level at 90 minutes, there's no extra time anymore. They go straight to a penalty shootout. That's what's in the offing at the Poundland Stadium, just off the M6 in the West Midlands. Walsall and Leicester still at 0-0. Villa 1 up at Wickham live on Talksport with 20 minutes to go there. Chelsea definitely don't have to worry about spot kicks at this point, unless they win one in the time that remains. 5-0 they lead. Mudryk, who's had a good game tonight, much needed confidence boost for the Ukrainian, just turns away from the attentions of Telford. Now Cassidy on halfway for Chelsea, plays the ball across to Achiampong, drives into the Barrow half, out to this near side for George. George elects to go back to the halfway line and Badiashile, just exchanging passes with Vega by the centre spot. Cassidy again. Very calm football from Chelsea, not feeling the need to cut through Barrow at this point. Going to have one added minute apparently at the end of the 90. That's all. Even with all the substitutions, I think that is another possible example of the referee bestowing a bit of kindness upon the opponents to not prolong the agony.
I'll say common sense. Means the Barrow fans that are on the road 5 minutes earlier as well.
Yeah, because it's always dead easy to get away from Stamford Bridge. Here's George for Chelsea, right hand corner of the penalty area, trying to play in Chukwuemeka on the underlap. He just couldn't get control of the ball, and it's drifted behind for a goal.
In fairness, it has thinned out, hasn't it, at Stamford Bridge? A lot of the Chelsea fans have made their way to the exits. Get an early.
Means you and me might get home at a reasonable time.
Sorry?
Means you and me might get home at a reasonable time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Got an early start tomorrow as well, so that's handy.
We'll be listening to the Sports Bar on our way home. Jason Cundy's here tonight, working for the club. He loves Chelsea, so Jermaine Pennant will be alongside Jamie O'Hara tonight, taking your calls at 10 o'clock. 0371722 3344. Chelsea fans, why not ring Jamie and tell them how well some of these young Chelsea players have done tonight. Almost released Tyreek George through the middle. He's still got it. 25 yards out, faced up by Tiencia. Gets to the right-hand corner of the box, lays it off to Achiampong. Now Dewsbury Hall. Plays the ball infield to Chilwell. Back for Dewsbury Hall once again. Stroked out to the right wing for George. right-hand corner of the penalty area again, fires it into Guiu. Difficult to control, but he actually did really well, the young Spaniard. Then the ball's given away by Achiampong, and Kouyaté trying to roll his defender and get down the left flank for Barrow, can't do so, and Badiashile tidies up and gives it back to his goalkeeper. Well, into the last 30 seconds, Matt, of normal time.
Yeah,
5-0.
I'm going to say, I mean, plenty of candidates for man of the match. And Kunku hat-trick obviously stands out. I thought João Felix was excellent. Mudrik's had a good game on that left-hand side.
Now, here's Chukwuemeka inside the area to make it 6. Oh, that's wild. Absolutely lashed at it, off balance, and the ball nearly hit the corner flag over on the far side of the field. I think we can safely say that's a goal kick.
And that won't be on his highlights reel when he puts one together. But in terms of man of the match, you know what?
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind saying the Barrow fans have been absolutely outstanding. From start to finish, they haven't stopped singing. They haven't stopped backing their team. You know, they've been thrashed 5-0, but they've given a really good account of themselves, and the fans are still going now. Brilliant support.
Yeah, 3,000 Cumbrians have really enjoyed their night, even if they've not enjoyed just seeing the ball hit the back of the net 5 times at the wrong end. So out to the left-hand side. It's kept in play by Tientia, but Achiampong for Chelsea wins it back. Still 0-0 at the Poundland. We're into that minimum stoppage time now. Won't be long before Oliver Langford brings proceedings to a close here at Stamford Bridge. The ball is back with Josh Achiampong out to Dewsbury Hall, and there goes the full-time whistle, and there's applause all round Stamford Bridge from the Chelsea fans for their team, who've scored 5 unanswered goals tonight, and from the Barrow fans in the shed end corner, just delighted that their team have made a contribution at one of England's premier football stadiums. They didn't score. I don't think they even forced Philip Jorgensen into a save, but those Barrow fans have enjoyed their night. Nevertheless, Chelsea have a healthy victory and are through to round 4, last season's beaten finalist. A hat-trick for Christopher Nkunku. Goals as well from Pedro Neto, his first for Chelsea, and an own goal from Barrow keeper Paul Farman after a João Felix free kick struck a post and hit the goalkeeper on the back to trickle over the line. Job done for Chelsea, Matt Holland.
Yeah, absolutely. Very professional job. Started sloppily enough. First 5 minutes gave the ball away pretty much every time they had it, but a moment of quality got them ahead, and then it was pretty much cruise control after that. And Nkunku was excellent up top. I thought he and João Felix, their combination play was brilliant between those two. I thought they were fantastic. Mudryk was, I think, got more confident as the game wore on. Took his man on, used his pace. Neto was lively on the right, an opportunity to get some of the youngsters a game with Tyreek George and Achiampong coming on. Ben Chilwell got minutes. Look, it's the perfect night for Chelsea. You know, the players who are on the fringes, who are maybe not going to feature too much this season, they've had some game time. They've won the game. They're in the hat for the next round. And Barrow, well, look, they've got bigger fish to fry, haven't they? It's all about League 2 and trying to get promoted into League 1. But a valiant effort from them. Showed a big heart. Worked incredibly hard. Just the difference in quality between the two was evident.
Barrow players and staff, including manager Stephen Clements, all going to applaud their fans in that corner down to our left-hand side. And boy, oh boy, how the Barrow fans are responding. If you didn't know the score and you were looking at that, you'd think that Barrow might have forced penalties. Or
an empty stadium around the rest of the stadium. Chelsea sort of meandering their way around to minimal applause. The Barrow fans in full voice all stood up singing the names of the players and the team, and they're all bowing in front of them, taking the acclaim and taking the applause.
Including Stephen Clements, who's at the end of the line wearing his black cap and appreciating the distance that these fans have travelled to cheer on their team. Other tests to come in League 2 with tricky matches against Gillingham and Doncaster on the immediate horizon for the Bluebirds. But I'm sure Stephen Clements will try somehow and use this game as a motivational tactic once Barrow get back to their League Two commitments, Matt?
Yeah, great experience for them. Great opportunity to play against some of the best players in the world.
Did you have a similar experience when you were at Bournemouth, where you went somewhere huge early on in your career?
Not huge. I played against Watford and Luton when they were in the Championship. We were in League One. When I was at Ipswich, we played Man United in the Cup 1997, beat them 2-0 at home. That was sort of the first experience of playing against one of the big boys. So, it's great when you play against those top players. It's a real test for you to see where you are, see how much learning you've got to do as well. When you play against the best players, you realise what they do well, and you try and take bits of it and try and take it into your own game. So, yeah, great chance to play against some big names.
Manchester City are through. They've beaten Watford by 2-1. There could well be a penalty shootout on the way at the Poundland, Matt, because they're into added time, and it is still 0-0 between Walsall of League Two and Leicester City of the Premier League.
Wow.
And Matt Sadler, who I know well, he was a Birmingham City left back, came through the academy. I never necessarily thought he was managerial material when I met him, but he got the job and took over from Mike Flynn. Walsall very nearly made the playoffs in League Two last season, and here they are on the verge of forcing a penalty shootout at the Poundland against Leicester City. We may well pick up coverage of that here on Talksport 2 in a moment. It's still 1-0 to Aston Villa at Wycombe Wanderers in the Talksport commentary right now, with Troy Deeney alongside Jim Bradford. But Troy will be interested in that scoreline potentially from the Poundland, because Walsall was where he started his career before he's moved to Watford. But what a potential there for the Super Saddlers.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, that's the beauty of this competition, isn't it? There's no divine right to get through, and especially when they're at home as well, you always feel like they've got a chance. We were both at Wimbledon when they took Ipswich out on penalties as well. So, I think when you're at home, that's why Wimbledon next week against Newcastle, it's a real shame that tonight didn't happen for them. They've now got to travel to St James's Park, where the chances of getting through are reduced somewhat by that.
But they've also got the gate receipts.
No, money in the coffers is great for them.
With what they're going through. If you haven't seen the pictures of the AFC Wimbledon pitch after the flooding in southwest London, just go to the website talksport.com. There's some pretty awful pictures that show the scale of the work that's going to have to be done at Plough Lane to get football back on there in the medium term. But I don't know what they do short term, whether there's any other ground. Kingstonian maybe could, where Chelsea's ladies used to play, whether they could fulfil fixtures there, I don't know. But certainly Plough Lane's not going to be seeing any live action for a little while yet. But the Stamford Bridge Stadium is gradually emptying here after a 5-0 win for Chelsea, and it'll be interesting to see how many of that 11 that have come in tonight, because remember, Enzo Maresca made 11 changes for the team that walloped West Ham. Whether any of those 11 players displace the 11 that started the game at the London Stadium. Unlikely, I would probably say, Matt Holland.
Yeah, I think unlikely. Will Gusto go back into the team? Malo Gusto potentially play 45 minutes tonight. He's taken them off at half time. Maybe he's someone that might go into the side. Other than that, difficult to say, isn't it?